In this video, you're going to learn how the powers of 10 can be incorporated with negative exponents. In this video, you're going to learn how the powers of 10 affects negative exponents. In this video, you're going to learn how negative exponents are included in the powers of 10. And we're going to start out by taking a look at a chart. So here we have a chart. And this chart is going to help you look at the patterns in the decimal numbers and the fraction forms, and it's going to help you to be able to do these mentally in your head. So I want to start out with a negative exponent. So here we have 10 to the negative first power. Now if you think back to previously when we were learning about 10 to the 0 power, we had a number such as 10 to the 0 power, which we said was 1. And what we talked about in the video is that every time you're going down an exponent, you're dividing by 10. So if we take 1 and we divide 1 by 10, that will give us 10 to the negative first power. So in factor form, 10 to the negative first power is 1/10. It's the same thing as a decimal. And think about how we say 1/10. 1/10 in the decimal form is just written 0 and 1/10 or 1/10. All right. Now another thing I want you to take a look at before we continue to look at the next example is the number of zeros. If our exponent is -1, then that means that we're going to have 1 0 in the denominator. It also means that we're going to have 1 0 in the decimal form, and we're including the 0 in front of the decimal. All right, let's look at another example. 10 to the negative second power. So if we were to take 1/10 and we were to divide that by 10, we would get 1/10 times 1/10, which is 1/100ths, and as a decimal, that would be written as 1/100ths. Notice our exponent. Our exponent is to the negative second power. That means that we're going to have 2 zeros in the denominator. Okay, 2 zeros in the denominator. And it also means that we're going to have 2 total zeros, but you have to include the 0 in front of the decimal. Example 3, 10 to the negative third power. That means we're multiplying 1/10 by itself 3 times. And that's 1 over 1,000 or 1/1000ths. All right, notice the 3 zeros here, and the exponent is a -3. 10 to the negative fourth, that means we're multiplying 1/10 by itself 4 times. There are a total of 4 zeros in the denominator, which is 1 over 10,000. So as a decimal, that's read 1/10,000ths. There are 3 key concepts that I'd like to go over. You probably have caught on to what these are already. The first key concept is that the exponent tells you how many times to multiply the number by itself. So for example, if I have 10 to the negative fifth, then that tells me I'm going to multiply a number by itself 5 times. Because we have a negative exponent, it's going to be 1 over 10, and we're going to multiply it 5 times. So that's 3, 4, 5. The negative exponent tells you how many zeros are in the denominator. So if we look at this example, 10 to the negative fourth, I'm going to have 4 zeros in the denominator. The negative exponent also tells you how many zeros you will have in the decimal form, including the 0 in front of the decimal. So if my exponent is -4, then I should know that I'm going to have a total of 4 zeros, 1 including the 0 in front of the decimal. And that concludes our video on negative exponents.